Hey everybody, I'm Sarah with Visit Lake County, and today we're at the Volo Auto Museum in Volo, Illinois. It's the largest auto museum in North America. So I'm here with Brian, and he's going to take us on a tour of the entire museum, and we're going to get to see a lot of cool stuff. So here we go.
All right. Thanks for coming on out today. We're going to try to fit about a 5-hour tour in 30 minutes, so let's get going. The building that we're in right now, this is our Duesenberg room. This is the area that you'll see as soon as you pay your admission and walk in. This is the first showroom that you'll see. The Duesenbergs are considered the most beautiful, the most elegant cars pretty much ever produced. If you ever heard the phrase, "it's a doozy," this is where it came from. These cars were built during the Great Depression, when people were living out of their cars. These were reserved for the elite. You could buy 50 brand new Fords, 20 homes, or one Duesenberg back in the day. Now, just before you exit the Duesenberg room, there's a little bit of history. We've got an exact replica of the very first car ever built, which was an 1886 Benz.
How soon before the Model T was the Benz?
Yeah, that was way before the Model T. The Model T was the first assembled down the assembly line. So a lot of people get that confused, but it is the first assembly line car. And we do have a couple theaters throughout the museum that do have some orientation where you can go in there, get some history about the property, about the museum itself, and just some of the stuff that you'll see throughout the day. Now, one thing that we do here is we utilize every square inch of the place, so you have to keep your eyes open because there is something on display everywhere, like all these vintage boat motors, all restored. This is an actual kids' boat from back in the 40s. That is a real boat. We also have a large military museum. And the outside here, we've got some of our bigger vehicles, which are troop carriers and ground support vehicles, a Huey helicopter. We like to keep the place family-oriented, so we do keep something here for everyone. The kids, we've got some playgrounds outside for the kids to burn off some energy as well.
We're flying the helicopters and the infantry into a landing zone almost 15 miles from the nearest road.
How long has the museum been open?
Jay, take your call, line 3, please. Jay, line 3.
My family originally opened the museum back in 1960. It was never intended to be an auto museum. It was actually a resale business. It was built from an old farm. My grandparents lived in the farmhouse, and they just went garage sailing and had a thrift store, so to speak. My dad and his brother were into the cars, and their hobby eventually led into the business, and that's how it grew into the museum you see today. So actually, we're on our 4th generation. We got generation 2, 3, and 4 all working in the business right now. We're going to go in through here. This is our military museum, and it's set up in a way where it's entertaining and educational. So even, the kids in that might not appreciate the military items, they still have a lot of fun walking through here with the light effects and sound effects. Each one of these rooms are set up accurately to what you would have seen during that time. We have the weapons, the uniforms, and the machinery. Everything all matches, so it's not mixed matched. What you see in here is all authentic and correct. Property was built from a 1800s dairy farm, so it's a little bit of a maze to get through the place, but you got to follow your map and follow the signs because, like I said, it is a maze. The building that we're in right now is actually from the mid-1800s.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. This is the old barn.
Yeah, it was a tool shed and a chicken coop. This section of the military museum is set up with showcases showing anything from the Civil War right up to the War on Terror. A lot of Vietnam, World War II, Civil War stuff. So we got a lot of ground to cover, so we'll go ahead and just take the shortcut through here. Won't be able to show you everything, but you get a little bit of a taste of what you'll see. Now, most people, when they come out here for the first time, they spend 5 to 6 hours for their first visit. And, we do have a food court here where, you can get a slice of pizza and a beverage, sit down, relax. There's a animatronic pirate show, like they used to have like Showbiz Beats and stuff, so you can sit down and be entertained as well. Now we're going to enter what we know as Showroom 1. There's some vintage arcades in here and a lot of different collector cars that are for sale. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go.
And again, like I said, we utilize every square inch, so you can see how some of the old, bikes that are in here, as well as the old vintage arcades. The crane machine, that's been around a long time. That's not a modern invention. is actually considered a gambling device. Don't wish to be big. Now this is showroom number 1. A lot of different production cars in here, collector type cars, which span from 1950 on up through the 70s. Pretty much everything that you see in here is for sale. The car sales is our main business. We sell about 1,200 cars every year, and that's what funds the museum. We are a self-funded museum. We don't get any tax dollars. So everything that we make, all the profit goes right back into the business. And again, along the way, there's things like this where people can get an education. This used to go on display at the Chevy dealerships back in the the mid-'60s. This was a 1967 Chevrolet engine, and it was just released that year. So it shows you, it's a cutaway, and it shows you how all the internals of the engine, transmission, and rear end actually work. But that's a really rare item and something that people really enjoy because it's shows you what's going on inside. I was saying we do buy and sell the collector cars. That's our main business, and we do travel all over the country to find the cars. Finding them, believe it or not, is the more difficult task of the job. Selling them is easy. And we do sell them all over the world. I think as to date, I think we've sold to 150 different countries that we sold cars to and shipped them to.
You guys usually buy them at auctions or from collectors or all sorts of?
We do go to auctions to purchase the cars, shows and that, but we're fortunate enough that we've been here so long that a lot of people know we're here, so they bring their cars to us. At auctions, it's very hard to get a good deal because you're competing with people that are willing to pay retail, and we're trying to get wholesale.
Yeah.
We're going to go through the hallway here to showroom 2. And again, in this hallway, we utilize it for displays as well. We got the very first motorcycles here. This is actually a debate which one's the first motorcycle. This one was built first, but it was steam powered. That one was built second, but is gasoline powered. So that's the debate, which is first, steam or gas. This is one of the first motorized bicycles. Altogether, it's about 100 different scooters, bicycles, and motorcycles. And the stuff that we try to get is the most unique stuff. Like I know a lot of people have seen tandem, one seat in front of another, but I didn't even know something like this existed, and it just looks impossible to ride, and I don't even want to try it. Now, showrooms 2, 3, and 4 are a combination of cars for sale and our Hollywood TV and movie cars. There's a total of about close to 100 different museum cars, which would be TV and movie cars, celebrity-owned vehicles as well. And the stuff that we look for is stuff that you can recognize. If I got to tell you this car was used in such and such a movie, we're not doing our job. I want you to see this car and know, hey, that's the car from Mad Max. That's the stuff that we're looking for to put on display. I don't want to tell you what it's from. You should recognize it. One thing that's nice being a self-funded museum, we're not locked into any particular display. We don't have to be just a car museum and stick to just cars. We can collect whatever we want, and that's kind of what we try to do, is just find, neat, different things, for people to see. Like down here, we've got a 6-foot-tall robot, nothing to do with cars, but very much, Americana, really cool piece. And I'm sure you've seen the inflatable guy standing out in front of your car dealerships with the arms flying around. That was what that was back in the day. People would rent these and put them in front of their car dealerships or businesses to attract customers in. One thing that we're expanding on right now is our Life on Two Wheels display. This is just a temporary exhibit. We actually are building a building specifically for the scooters and bikes. So you'll see a lot more coming with that. But again, all the stuff that we collect is the unusual stuff. You're not going to find too many Cushmans and Vespas. Those are a bit more common. We look for the unique things that you're not going to see, like a Zundap or a Suzetta, I think it's called. Salisbury. I mean, they're all unique stuff. And I don't know if you ever seen, but you got a motorized pogo stick there. So if you get brave, you can fire that up, and that it's actually motorized and is very dangerous. It didn't last very long. There were so many lawsuits from that thing. Even the inventor, his own son, got hurt and sent to the hospital on it. This is another one of our newest displays. We're still working on it. It's not complete yet, but it's the car that Paul Walker drove in Fast and Furious 7. So it's got some, definite historic value to it. And we're doing a memorial to Paul Walker and memorial to his life. Now we're going to cut over to showroom 3, but you can see in the background, there's some automotive memorabilia. There's some Nickelodeons. You see the Pep Boy statue standing up in the back. Those are extremely rare. They only made like 6 of them. They're built in the 1930s to go on the rooftops of the Pep Boys stores. And they're all handmade, hand-laid fiberglass, and very, very rare. You got James Bond, Back to the Future, the General Lee from Dukes of Hazzard is down towards the end. There's some more old bicycles and whizzers. And even more. Yep, in here is our snowmobile display. We just added this last year. And same thing, we like to get the unique snowmobiles. I got this Dragonfly ice sled. It's powered by a fan on the back. This Model T here is considered to be, one of the first snowmobiles. If you ask 10 different people what the first snowmobile is, you're going to get 10 different answers. But this is one of them. And that was actually available through your Ford dealership. Only problem was the Model T was about $500. The Snowbird package to convert it into a snowmobile was also about $500, so it doubled the cost. But again, all the snowmobiles in here are unique. This one here is rocket powered. Got 3,000 horsepower. I also would not want to try to drive that.
Yeah.
Now we've got a twin jet engine motorcycle that we just picked up that'll be coming on display soon. Also got a twin engine jet that is a Fuga jet, which will be coming out here by springtime. Is from the 50s. It was a French training jet for the military, so that'll be out here by next summer.
So when you guys purchase new things, you restore them yourself?
We don't do much in restoration. We try to find things already restored just because the restoration cost exceeds the value of the item itself.
Yeah. Okay.
We also have our tractor display. This is also something that we're building on. We're not done yet. Again, with the tractors, we're looking at unique things like this one here. People ask, is it some kind of a race tractor? Well, it's an orchard tractor. When you'd go down your orchards, these are on there to shield the branches from getting caught in the tires and that, so they would just bend away and then flop back. It wouldn't do damage to the tractor, it wouldn't do damage to the trees, and it wouldn't do damage to the driver. But a couple rare tractors that we've got is a Lamborghini tractor and a Porsche tractor. People didn't even know that either one of them built tractors, which the funny thing is Lamborghini was a tractor company before they ever built cars.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's why you got to read the signs that are on here. You got the signs. You can learn a lot. Here in showroom 3, it's set up like the other showroom where it's a mixture of TV and movie cars as well as cars for sale. So you got some of your favorites here, you know, Knight Rider, Back to the Future, and we got the Miami Vice Ferrari over there, which there's only 2 of them ever used in the TV series, and that is the only one on display in the world. The other one is owned by a collector and is kept private. We got our few Mattel cars here, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and got Barbie's Cadillac. This came out of Disney World. They used to drive Barbie around Epcot Center. This is a tribute car. It was built as a tribute to Michael Jackson. We have a few other of those. We got Charlie Chaplin tribute car as well. Just a an artistic version of a car. And you got a big gorilla here. Again, it has nothing to do with cars, but it sure is cool. That came out of Universal Studios. They had that on display to promote the movie from 1976, I think it was.
So how do you guys acquire the movie props?
Getting into the movie cars and the movie props, there is a lot of digging for stuff like that. But also, when you're in the niche and you know the right people, it's a small niche. Right. You know, like the Paul Walker car, you know, we just got that directly from Universal Studios. And we work with the studios quite a bit. Like The Great Gatsby, the car Leonardo DiCaprio is driving, that came from us. Superman, Man of Steel, we were a picture car coordinator on that. So we do it both ways. And you got Christine. Don't get too close. Grandpa Munster's Dragula. And we have the Black Munster coach, too. That's just out for some freshening up and renovation right now, so that'll be back about a month or two. It's out in California, the original builders doing the freshening up for us. Grease Lightning. It's one of the people's favorites. My daughter's favorite car too. She knows it as a sparkly car. This is the '66 TV series Batmobile. That was built by George Barris. We actually do have a pretty big Batman collection here. We've got the '66 TV series Batcycle, the '89 Batmobile. We have the semi that Heath Ledger drove as the Joker in Batman Dark Knight. And coming this fall, we actually have the Tumbler will be coming in as well. So a lot of Batman stuff. And some more of the tribute cars. This is the Johnny Cash guitar. Over there we got a Star Wars display and from the original Aliens movie for the sci-fi. As we head up to showroom 4, that gets to be some more items for the kids. We get Nemo and Monsters, Inc. We've got a bunch of different life-size Disney characters and Warner Brother characters. They were used at the Disney and Warner Brothers stores for displays, but eventually they decided to get rid of all their displays. They were supposed to be sent back to Disney and Warner Brothers and cut up, but some of the people kept them and they got into private hands. So it's very rare to see any of these things. Get your picture with the Simpsons. People love doing that. This building here is a combination of the kids and the celebrity-owned cars. We do have a lot of different kiddie rides, the miniature carousel. All these are available for use. We've got another theater here with a continuation of the orientation. Yeah, this building's got some of the most unique as far as entertainment vehicles in it. Stuff like the Cat in the Hat car. Yeah, you got Herbie, which is activated by a sensor. No, he's not working right now, but normally, the bumper moves, the headlights, the car shakes, because this is the Herbie that came to life in the movie. It had all the special features on it. Oh, there it goes. Kinda. Yeah, it shakes around, and that's what requires a lot of maintenance. When they built it, it was only supposed to be used a handful of times, not every day, every time someone walks past. They got, Lightning McQueen and Mater. Some of the celebrity-owned cars, Rod Stewart, Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. You got Britney Spears' car down there. Elvis Presley's personal custom-built Cadillac. And the cars that we collect that were owned by celebrities or the rich and famous, we look for vehicles that actually have some history, not just one that was owned by, but every car's got a story. Michael Jordan's Bentley is there. That's actually the car that inspired the 2005 Air Jordan. The leather, the stitching, the mesh that's on the side of the shoe is the same mesh that's in the grill of the car. So, got Oprah Winfrey's Bentley over there. She bought that as a birthday gift to herself when she turned, I think, 43. And you got some of the Disney displays here. And these are all the props from the Disney stores. And we set them all up as basically like little movie stills. A couple of the pictures that we've taken ourselves, we've put out, and people actually thought it was a screenshot from a movie. Yeah, when a horse and a pumpkin just won't do. It's Cinderella's backup car. Something else that we did is we've got these overhead speakers, which is really nice because they're directional. So when you're standing in front of the display, it'll give you some sound to bring the display alive, but without bleeding out to the rest of the showroom. So you'll just get the the experience with the display itself. This has got to be one of my favorite cars. It was built for the movie Son of the Mask, which wasn't exactly a blockbuster movie, but they sure created a heck of a unique car when they did it. It took me 10 years. I thought the car was just computer generated and fake, and went to purchase some cars in one of the movie studios, and they had this sitting in their warehouse. And I about died when I seen it in person and tried to buy it from them, and it was kind of like the carrot dangling in front of your nose, and it took about 10 years to finally get it. About a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw something on Facebook. Were you guys driving it?
Yeah, I just drove that out to the National Night Out that the Round Lake Police Department was putting on. This here's an old this isn't a vehicle. This is actually considered an amusement ride. It was built from a Crosley, and it was done, back in the 50s. This one in particular was at the Wolo Park, which was the oldest amusement park. And it was there from 1951 until 2000. They had this thing in use. Yeah, only kids. An adult won't fit in there. It's kind of tight. But yeah, that was a kiddie ride. Saying celebrity cars, we look for ones with stories. If you remember when Zsa Zsa Gabor slapped the cop, this was the car that she was driving when she did that. And like the Disney, we got our Warner Brothers store displays as well. Don't buy any of the fruit; it's a little stale. This here's one of my other favorite cars. Is built for the Cat in the Hat. They spent $1.4 million building this car, and it was on screen for less than a minute. And it actually does run and drive. And the cat in the case there, that was built from his actual costume too. And they took a mold of his mask and created the statue out of it. We do have a couple cars. We got an Indy race car, and we got the Flintstone car here, where you can actually get in and get your pictures taken. This is something else that we're developing out here as well. A lot of bigger items that we're putting under structures. Like this is the lifeboat from Captain Phillips. Tom Hanks spent 9 weeks inside that boat for filming.
That's crazy.
Got a steam-powered road locomotive that was built in the 50s. The caboose behind it was from 1895. It's an old wooden caboose. And then we're going to go through this way here. This is our evolution of transportation and lodging. We just opened up about a month ago, and we're still building on it, but basically it's the evolution of the road trip. You start in the 1840s, when it would take you about a year to go from New York to L.A., and then we end in the 70s where you could go to New York to L.A. in 2 days.
Flour, salt, sugar, coffee, dried beans, dried fruit.
So in the 1840s, people would travel by covered wagon, and they wouldn't ride in the wagons. They would walk next to the wagons. The wagons would be carrying any of the necessities for the trip, their food and that, and then it would also they'd have another one that would carry all their belongings. So very rarely did anybody ever ride in them. They rode next to them.
A spinning wheel and the fruit
And next in the evolution, we go up to the 1890s, and this is when people would ride in stagecoaches, and basically they would go from stage stop to stage stop, riding in a carriage like this. It was very expensive, and the thing was, these were run by the mail carriers. So if there was mail to be delivered, you didn't get to go for a ride. It was only after all the mail was packed, if there was room, then you could ride in it. And when you stop at a stage stop, you could get a room to spend the night there. You could get yourself a meal in that, and then you could catch your next stagecoach. Well, you move into the 1920s. This is when they started building little cottages, and you'd get yourself a room, a little wash bowl. Sometimes you could get a carport for your car. Other times you just park it next to it, and you'd get your own little cabin, so to speak. The only problem was is these cabins became very popular with gangsters because they were a good hideaway. They were private, and also working ladies and extramarital affairs. So they became they kind of got a bad reputation after a while, and it was up to the owners of the cabins to keep from getting a bad reputation. We move into the 40s and 50s. The campers became very popular. Cars were more powerful, and you could pull these behind your cars fairly easily. And basically, they were tiny houses on wheels. They've got kitchens, bathrooms, bedroom, dining area. Yeah, the tiny house trend started years ago. Yeah, and then by 1970, you got the RVs like this were very common, self-contained, and you could just drive it down the road without even pulling a trailer. So the RVs like this were, during the 70s, that's when they became very popular. But they did have them back, in the earlier 1900s. We actually do have a 1928 Ford Model A that is an RV. And what's kind of interesting about it is the RVs became real popular during the 20s and 30s, but they were done by conversions. Like this Model A that we had was a convertible Model A. Roaring 20s, money was good. A Model A convertible was, a middle-class luxury. The Great Depression hit, and people couldn't afford to live anymore, and they were moving out of their houses, and they were converting their cars into RVs, and they were actually living out of them. So it wasn't a pleasure travel. It was a lifestyle. They would travel from town to town wherever they could work, and they would live out of them as a cheap house. So there's quite a bit of history to the RV, too. Off to the side here, we've got a train that we run on the weekends. It's about 25 minutes long. You get to go around the property and, again, hear some more history and just sit back and go for a ride. During the fall time, we do have a haunted tour. It's about 45 minutes, and that's free for anybody that, comes to the museum. A little more movie history. That's the Dark Knight semi that Heath Ledger drove. That's the only one in the world. They had two others, but one of them was destroyed, and the other one was owned by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers didn't want it to get out to the public for liability reasons, so they had it cut up. Warner Brothers actually rented this one, so they couldn't cut it up because it wasn't theirs. So you got a military duck here. Those ducks are very valuable and very rare. You could see the big ducks like at the Wisconsin Dells, which are about $200,000. A duck like this one's about $500,000. That one was used in Indiana Jones. It was beat up, shot up, and $500,000 vehicle's a little bit expensive of a vehicle to beat up. So they actually built a replica. Even the military people look at that and they don't know that's a replica. But you try to put that in the water, it'll sink. This is our retired train that we used to use on our train tours. It was built for the 1939 World's Fair. And we used to give tours around the property with it, but because of its age and fragility, we had to retire it. And our train caboose, people are allowed to walk through it. It's then fully restored, and it's all restored inside as you would have seen it back in the 1800s. And you get a glimpse into the life of a train conductor and see how they lived. It's got the bunk beds in there, the ice box, kind of a crude living. Stop for the sprinkler. Yeah, our property here is under roof, we've got 2 city blocks. And if you were to walk up and down every aisle that was here, it's a total of 7 miles. So wear comfy shoes. This is one of the first monster trucks ever built. Him and Bigfoot were big competitors in the 70s, but Bigfoot was a little bit smarter business-wise, and he was able to get sponsors where this guy was self-funded and just couldn't afford to do the sport anymore. The cars that you see out here, this is stuff that's coming and going. Sold cars and new arrivals waiting to be processed and run through the shop. This Ford we just found recently, it's a push me pull you. It was built in 1968 by a junior college body shop. They took 2 front ends and put them together.
Does it actually work?
Yeah, it actually runs and drives. I drove it down the road once. That was enough. And then the jet that's behind it, it's actually a full-scale fiberglass replica. It was originally built for True Lies. If you remember Arnold Schwarzenegger at the end of the movie flying around, that was the jet he was flying in. It was, held up by a crane. And they retired it, and it sat in the desert for many years until the Avengers came out, and they used the jet again. The Hulk got thrown into it, and it got all smashed up. And we got it, and it was still smashed up and in pieces, and it took about 2 years to get it put back together. And because it's such a big piece, we did one side like True Lies, and if you look at the other side, it's as you had seen it in the Avengers. So you got 2 for 1 there. How are we doing time-wise? 1:30?
Oh, yeah, we're over, but that's okay.
Okay. The thing is, we've got the antique malls too, which that would take another 45 minutes just to run through it. But this is kind of the end of the cars. We do have one more showroom of the cars that are from the early 1900s, brass era, on up through the 40s. And we also have our antique malls and our gift shop, which is about 100,000 square feet of antiques and gifts. So there's a lot of shopping that you can do there as well. And a couple more playgrounds throughout the place for the kids, and that's really it.
Well, thanks for taking us on the tour. And,
Absolutely.
Where can people go for more information?
You can go to our website, which is volocars.com, and you can also look at us on Facebook. We do a lot of posts there, a lot of behind the scenes. We do contests to win free tickets. So it's a fun Facebook page to follow.
Cool.
And
All right.
you just have to come out and visit.
Sounds good. Thanks
All right.
for the tour.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Good? Okay. Awesome. Well, that was good.